So basically, we are actually doing the cross-currency interest rate. Now, there was a question in your exam paper that is 2014 question paper. So that was the first question examiner tested under the new syllabus, and there were another 1 or 2 questions. So those are the only few questions examiner tested on foreign exchange transactions. So basically, there he has tested the cross-currency interest, cross-currency exchange rate. How do you apply this cross-currency interest rate in the examination question? So basically, what we want to learn is, now see, so basically, now see, now for example, GBP USD, and you have been given USD LKR rate, right? The examiner in the exam, if you are given this, remember that so basically we have learned there are 4 types of exchange rates which are quoted USD on your right hand side. So we call these things indirect quotes. Indirect quotes. Now this is direct quote. This is direct quote, right? So when you have been given the direct, indirect, I have given you the method you should apply in the exam when you have been given this one. And see now this one. Now this is 2 direct. Now here we have direct and indirect, right? Direct quotes, indirect quotes we have learned. Now this is direct. This is indirect. So when you have been given a direct and indirect quotes, to arrive at now see what are the common exchange here. This is common. This is common. So basically we can derive either GBP LKR, that is one, either LKR GBP. Those are the things we can arrive. If you take the example given in this here, you see, now here they have been given USD HKD. This is direct use. And the other one they have been GBP USD. This is indirect. So what are the other indirect quotes we have learned? New Zealand dollars, right? So what are the other things we have learned? New Zealand dollars, then AUD you have, then you have GBP here and Euro. Those are the 4 indirect quotes. There are USD is on your right hand side. USD is on your right hand side. So when you have been given the direct, indirect, what do you do? What do you do? When you have been given the direct, indirect, what do? Straight down and multiply. Straight down and multiply. What does it mean? And you multiply. Then you get the answer. Now here in this example, 7.2515. So 7.2515. This is 7.2545. This is buying. This is selling. USD HKD. USD HKD. 1 USD equal HKD this much. So out of these two, which one is weaker? Anything you pay more, that currency is weak. Who pays more? This guy pays more. Why? On your left hand side, always equals 1, right? 1 GBP equals how much USD? Right? You always keep. So basically, what do? So the 7.2515 into 1430. So that's the answer given. So then you got 10.17 and 10.19. These are the two answers you got. So either you can find out GBP HKD or HKD GBP. Those are the three. So those are the three things, right? Those are three things. So now straight and multiply. That you can understand. Why straight and multiply? Two scenarios, what? Direct and indirect. So if the examiner gives you direct, and remember in your exam, examiner gives you the actual codes. So these are the actual currency available in the world. This is Hong Kong dollars. So they are generally examiner has not given any hypothetical ABC, X, Y, Z like that. But generally he gives, this is a live subject in investment banking. So generally we can expect, and also the similar pattern was applied. He has given the actual currency pair. So generally now you know USD is, it's known to GBP is England currency, HKD is Hong Kong dollar currency. Now say straight and multiply. That's the given scenario for us, right? That's the formula or whatever the method we are using. Why we have used direct and indirect. Now we are going to find out what? Either GBP HKD or HKD GBP. That's understood. These are common. Now this is common. This is common. Then either these two. Either one GBP equals one. How much HKD or 1 HKD equals how much GBP. Now you got the answer. This. So this is the answer you got. 10, 17 and 10, 9. 10, 17 and 10. Now how do you decide whether is it GBP 1 HKD or 1 HKD 1 GBP? How do you decide that? So basically you decide is this. Now what you can do is in the exam, if you are not known to these two pairs, you can bring always to common platform the given scenarios. Now we have been given USD, HKD, GBP, USD. Then we'll have to work out how, instead of this, how much USD, GBP. We can work out that, we can do that. How do you do this? Now we will write down what are the two currency pair they have given. Now these are the two currency pairs given. USD HKD 7.25. I'll take two decimals only, right? 7.25. Then the other one 1.4030, then 1.454050. Now, what does it mean? This one. Take this one. 1 GBP equals 1.4030 of dollars. That we can understand. 1 GBP. Now, how do you decide? How do you work out how much $1 equals GBP? Simple. Say arithmetic calculation. 1 divided by 1.4030. That we know. That's a simple arithmetic, right? So then how? What's the answer? One divided by 1.4030. This is 7127. Same thing, other one. 1 divided by 1.4050. 711. We take one only, this one. Now I'll erase this one, right? Now we are on this common platform now. Now what we are going to do is, initially if you are given the question like this, first you should know direct, indirect. Now this is direct, indirect. Then what do? Straight and multiply. So you have written the answer separately. Now our task is it HKD GBP or GBP HKD? That we will have to find out. Examiner can ask you what is the cross currency rate for me, GBP HKD. So you got the answer. Similar. How do you got the answer? How did you get the answer? Direct, indirect, we know straight and multiply. Now we are finding out, is it GBP, HKD, HKD, GBP. Similarly, you can find out the other one as well. But only thing, how do you find out this ekka? Right? We'll are finding. Now, what you should do is, you bring all the given currency pair to one common platform. Everything is USD is on your left hand side. Here it was the default, by default it's given as it is, but we have calculated to bring USD on your left hand side. Ekka USD ekata how much HKD? 7. USD ekata GBP how much? So ekka USD ekata HKD 7ක් ගෙවනවා. USD ekata HKD 7ක් ගෙවනවා. Ekka USD ekata HKD 7.2. Generally we think it pays 7. Right? $1 equals HKD 7. හැබැයි $1 එකට GBP ගෙවන්නේ කීයද? 0.7, less than 1. Which one is weaker out of HKD and GBP? $1. For $1 HKD you pay 7. For $1 GBP you pay only 0.7, less than 1. Who pays more for dollar? HKD. HKD pays more. What is this? This is HKD. Who pays more? $1 එකට HKD 7ක් ගෙවනවා. HKD 7යි. හැබැයි $1 එකට GBP you pay 0.7. Less than 1. Less than 1. රුපියලකට වඩා අඩුයි. Who pays more for dollars? This guy pays more. 7ක්. 7. You pay more. So obviously, the amount you pay more should be on your right hand side. The amount you pay more is on your right hand side. So then, which one you select then? You pay more. Anything you pay more should be on your right hand. This is HKD. The HKD amount, it comes once you calculate this, it comes HKD. So basically, anything you pay more. Here you pay more. Which one you pay more? HKD pays more. So anything you pay more, it should be on your right hand side. So the 10 point something should be your right hand side. What is this? HKD. The amount you pay more should be on your right hand side. So then HKD is should HKD, the currency pair out of these two, HKD should be on your right hand side. So which one you select? Then this one. How did you decide? $1, 7 HKD. $1 equals 7 HKD. Here $1 equals 0.7, less than 1. Who pays more? HKD pays more for $1. Correct? So anything you pay more on your always you have left hand side 1 equals 1 equals 1 equals. So basically, who pays more? HKD pays more. When you pay more for the currency pair, it should be on the left hand side to one right hand side. The amount more than 1, right hand side. The left hand side always equals 1. So the HKD pays more, then it has to be on your right hand side. So right hand side one, which one? This one. Anyway, you got the answer by straight and multiply. You have the answer. Only thing you have to decide, this one is GBP or HKD. That's why we have did this. We have done this. So we have done this to find out whether this answer is HKD or GBP. How did you do this? You brought in the exam given currency pair onto one stage. They gave a USD on your left hand side. This is already given. We have a calculator to bring USD on your left hand side. How? Only thing make a simple. Now you are on a common platform. Who pays more? This guy pays more for $1. හතක් ගෙවන මෙයා 0.7 7 මෙයා රුපියල් 7යි. We say හතක් ගෙවන මෙයා 0.7. And who pays more? HKD pays more. Anything you pay more on your right hand side. One left hand side always equals 1. More than 1 right hand side. So the right hand side what? HKD pays more. Then you select this one. You have the answer here. So then you select the currency pair. Understood? That is how you do this. That's the easiest method for you to remember. That's the easiest method for you to remember to calculate the cross currency. Examiner test you this kind of questions. Calculate the cross currency thing, right? I think Euro question we have done in the class, right? Euro question was the examination question. Find out the Euro. Before we come to the examination question, shall we go to the tutor and see what are the all right, these things you can read it. Special features, I have given this. I have done this as a, remember this Nostro and Vostro. That is important for you to understand and keep in remember. Cross currency, remember, and also the this one two direct. If the two direct currency is given, it's easy, right? And cross and divide, same thing. Same method we did. Only thing, if you have been given, generally examiner we have seen direct indirect is the favorite, but it doesn't mean that this kind of transaction cannot be tested. USD, that is direct. It can be indirect also. So if it is direct, both the currency pair are direct, both the currency pair are indirect. So cross and divide. That's easy, right? Cross and divide. How do you decide? Is it now here in this case USD common? So then examiner, now the answer, you know, how do you get the answer? Cross and divide. 7.2515 and divided by 1.50. This should be divided by this. Then you have the answer here, this one. So then how do you decide whether it is CHF HKD or HKD CHF? Same thing we did it now on the board. Same thing you did. Now here is easy. Why? USD is on your common platform. Who pays more? So one USD, HKD, how much? 7. 1 USD CHF, how much? 1.5. Who pays more for dollar? $1. Obviously HKD. Why? He pays 7. CHF given 1.5. So the $1 HKD pays more, 7. So who pays more? HKD pays more. If it is pay more, it should be on your right hand side. HKD on your right hand side. CHF HKD 4.8. That is how it's given already. Now, if it is direct, indirect, it's easy for you to find out. Direct, if it is direct, you can easily find out why the dollar is on your left hand side. Even if it is an indirect codes, you'll have to bring to one platform. That's easy. There also you have indirect codes. So how do you which side USD appears? Right hand side. So then, for you to understand, it's very easy. Two direct, two indirect quotes. Which one? The answer should be, is it either which one, either which one? Now in this case, USD, 1 USD equals 7. 1 USD equals 1.5 CHF. Who pays more for CHF? HKD pays more. Then if it pays more, the answer, the currency pair, the answer currency pair, this is the answer. Only thing we'll have to find out whether it is HKD or CHF. Who pays more here? HKD pays more. Then if it pays more, it should be on your right hand side. Left hand side equals always 1. 1 equals 1. Ekkakata kiyada. Okay, that is how you decide it, right? And same thing. Now same questions, right? Now USD yen. Now finding out the cross rate. Now say USD it says 104, and here USD LKR says 132. Direct. So if it is direct, which one we did it? Which one we have learned? Same scenario you'll have to apply. Very easy. Only thing you have to remember, if it is direct, if it is both the direct, indirect, then cross and divide. If it is direct, indirect, straight and multiply. Two direct, two indirect, cross and divide. If it is direct, indirect, then straight and multiply. Straight and multiply. So it's very easy to understand, right? Now, examiner has, now in this question, only one side has been given. It doesn't matter. Sometimes this must be average. We are selling them at home. They have given one side. That's fine. Same thing. See now the methodology won't change, right? Methodology won't change even given a one side. It doesn't matter. It right? Cross and divide. It's there. Understood? Both are direct. If it is both direct, cross and remember this. Remember this, you won't forget everything. You can calculate any cross rate if you remember these two methods. Rules for cross rates. Remember these two rules, and it is important in the exam for you to derive cross currency exchange rates. Okay. So every question is based on this. Now this is one of the questions. Only in the substitution of what we have learned, these two rules. So even the examiner has given one, same thing will apply. Same thing, right? I'm just giving you Same. Now these are actually old questions. I have explained the direct and indirect codes with an example. Now we have learned this. The questions we can take it later with the examination questions as well. We are not focusing much on foreign exchange transaction here, but it is very limited scope you have, right? Only the conversion part is important for you. Other than that, only some hedging parts. That's all. So we can cover. It is more than enough for your exam, right? Now this free floating. So we have in Sri Lanka, we have managed free floating. We have managed free floating, right? So what do you mean by managed free floating? Managed free floating is what? Free floating is what? Basically, exchange rate is decided by the demand and supply. Exchange rate is decided by the demand and supply. Exchange rate is decided by the demand and supply. Demand and supply means what? For the exchange rate in Sri Lanka, USD LKR, what is the demand? What do you mean by demand? What do you mean by demand? Demand comes from whom? Okay. What do you mean by demand? Demand comes from whom? For the exchange? People who are asking is the demand. Who ask foreign exchange? Apart from Sri Lanka rupees, who asks? People who have to pay to the international market, for the international suppliers. Who are they? They are the people who bring goods to Sri Lanka. Who are they? Importers, right? So basically, demand comes from importers. Now demand comes from importers. Demand comes from importers. So who are the suppliers of dollars? We say dollar, foreign exchange dollar. So the suppliers are who brings foreign exchange to Sri Lanka. They sell and they receive foreign exchange. They sell out of Sri Lanka. How do you call them? Exporters. So the suppliers are basically exporters. Suppliers are basically exporters, but the importers are the demand. People who are demanding foreign exchange, we call it importers. So from bank side, selling foreign exchange, selling means what? You are selling people who need dollars. Who are they? Importers. For them to pay. So say I'm the importer. So I'm importing goods from India. I need dollars. So I'm asking from your bank. So the bank sells. Bank sells. So I have so I am demanding. I need. So I am the buyer. So the bank sells. So the bank sells dollars. Now in the exam, if the examiner says bank sells foreign exchange, meaning that is demand. So the importers. You sell dollars. You sell foreign exchange to whom? Importers. So the demand comes from importers. Supplies are the exporters. So that is one source of supply. We have many sources of supplies. FDIs, foreign exchange remittances, but take this one only, importers and exporters. So we have, so the basically importers are the demander, they demand, exporters supply. So the demand and supply, that is how you decide the how much you pay for one USD LKR. Today, how much you pay? 195. This was earlier. This is the whole question. Now see, now those days, $1 equals 132. $1 එකට 132 තමයි ගෙව්වේ. Now then how much you pay? 195. So what has happened? We discussed. One currency out of these two, USD and LKR, has depreciated. Which one? Rupee has depreciated. Meaning anything you pay more, your currency is weak, depreciated. So rupee has depreciated, right? Anything you pay more, the other one is appreciated. So basically, so the central bank does not allow free floating of exchange. So they are intervening. So the managed free floating we have, we want to stabilize exchange rate. So for the stability, central bank intervenes. Central bank intervenes for the stability. So when we have managed free floating, okay. Then you have so spot and also remember this one. Cash means now, today. Tom means tomorrow. Spot means day after. So generally, exchange when the exchange rate is quoted, if the exchange rate specifically does not tell you, it means that is spot. So any transaction now, share market is also the same. You do the settlement after 2 days of the transaction. Treasury bill, treasury bond, also the same. Treasury bill, also the same. You have the auction Wednesday, then you do the settlement day after tomorrow. That is spot, right? Cash means today, Tom means tomorrow, spot means day after tomorrow. Anything after spot, we call it forward. It's not available in your tube, right? Write it down here with space. For anything after spot means forward. Examiner can test you. I don't think the examiner, I am not saying examiner will test this thing, but there can be a question for 2 marks. So the meaning of forward, and that is beyond spot. Anything we call beyond spot, we call forward, right? Right. So these questions I'll be taking up with later, right? Don't worry about same questions. Same question. Only thing they'll have to find out the cross rates and finding out the whatever the total amount. So similar question, examiner has also tested you. Same type of question. So we can take it later. Only the relevant questions, right? For you to practice, I have given some questions. These questions I have taken from foreign exam, right? Now, what do you mean by, now this is also important. So we will be coming next, the hedging transaction, hedging instrument. We are actually touching the hedging instrument only. For you, it's not much needed in-depth knowledge for you to understand, right? Now, what happens is only thing understand this concept also might important for you. Premium and discount. Premium and discount. Now say we say USD LKR rate. Now today we say 195, 196. We say 195, 196. 195, 196 we say. So now this is what generally, when you are giving this, generally what is this quote? If the examiner does not specifically tell you, this is spot. Not cash, not top. Right? So now you come to bank and asking forward exchange rate. What do you mean by forward exchange rate? Anything more than spot. Now say you are receiving after 3 months time $1 million. So you need to convert into rupees. At that time, the amount you will be receiving after 3 months time. So then you enter into agreement now with the bank. I need to convert whatever the amount to be received after 3 months time to rupees with you. So you now decide 3 months ahead rate. 3 months ahead rate. So the bank people give you, this is bid and sell, buy and sell it. So after 3 months time, what is this? This is forward. This is forward rate. This is spot. The examiner does not specifically tell you. Forward rate, why 3 months? Anything more than spot. So the bank gives you 197. 198. Oh, buying selling. So what is this difference? 2 rupees. So adding 2 rupees. Adding 2 rupees to here. To come to 197, you should add 2 rupees to 195. Why you have add? Why did you subtract? Why didn't you subtract 2 rupees? Why it can't be 194, 195? ඇයි ඒක දුන්නේ නැත්තේ? ඇයි ඒක දුන්නේ නැත්තේ? Now what is this? We call this 2 rupees. Adding 2 rupees we call premium. You add premium. When it is premium, you add to the spot rate, present rate, to come to forward rate. This is forward rate. 197. Today how much? 195. After 3 months time, how much will be? 197. What did you do? You add 2 rupees. Why did you add 2 rupees? It's a premium. What do you mean by premium? Will be later in a small way we will touch. This is actually interest rate parity, and there are 2 things for you to decide whether it is discount or premium. Now, see, if it is, when you add it, that's premium. When you subtract, it's discount. Now, countries like Japan, forward rates are minus. Today 197. Example, 195 then 194. discount. So there are two methods I'll be coming later with after this hedging instrument. You have two methods for you. You have two methods to decide whether you have premium or discount. Premium or discount. You have two methods. That is interest rate parity. The other one is what? Purchasing power parity. I have given in your notes in small ways. For you, actually, you don't want to go in depth. Only thing, only touching. So if somebody asks you why you always, and now in Sri Lanka, we have always premium. So how do you decide? It's basically this amount, whether you should add, whether you should deduct, and the amount you had decided by interest rate parity. For your knowledge, interest rate parity means what? Dollar interest rate and LKR interest rate. Simple. Dollar interest rate and LKR interest rate. So we know generally we put LKR interest rate together. We say 5%. Now presently 5%. Example. USD interest rate, how much? It has come down drastically. Now LIBOR rates, you know how much? They have come down drastically. So we say at least 1%. So basically you have 5. This is premium. Then you add 5 at premium. Like that. Right? Countries like Japan, you have discount. Right? The interest rates are negative. That is how you decide. It's available in your notes. Interest rate parity and purchasing power parity. But in Sri Lanka, we generally go by the interest rate parity. For you to decide the forward rate. Any bank, your bank. If I come today 195, how much will be the after 3 months or the 1 week exchange rate? Same thing you apply. Nothing else. Same thing. You calculate based on this interest rate. Both the countries' interest rate. That's all. But examiner can test you because he has tested you once. Hedging instrument option. So this is also possible. Now foreigner comes to Sri Lanka. Now say we are actually doing investment banking. So foreigner comes to Sri Lanka, convert rupees. So after 5 years time, he has rupees. Then he need to reconvert into dollars to take it back to whatever his country. So then forward comes into the picture. Today and forward. After 5 years, the forward. So the examiner can test you. There is a relation. Keep this forward and forward exchange rate. So it can be either premium, it can be either discount. The examiner test you. This is how you answer. Now it's available. Now I have the latest paper with me. I have the latest paper now. The first question, if you have the question, same question examiner has tested for 2 marks. I'll read it to only the first question only. Other questions also very similar. Now, the up to now we have to complete. The next topic is mergers and acquisition. So the mergers and acquisition, then the capital restructuring of the loss-making companies, that is to turn around the companies. So other than that, I had to give you loan syndication note. That's for you to read. Only 5-mark question it can come. Loan syndication, you explain. That's all. There is no any theory, nothing. No calculation, nothing. So that is the only syllabus topic we'll have to cover. So basically, we have completed now almost 90% of your syllabus. So basically, if you take this question paper, you should be able to answer at least to the significant amount of. Now see question. Read it to the first question. Now, the Colombo Stock Exchange is the only equity trading exchange in Sri Lanka. That's true, right? We're learning. And there we have learned, remember, when you're doing the share market, indices, ratios. I had to do the ratios, investor ratios, a separate topic. I'll be giving the ratios, price earning ratios and everything. So that will be covered with this purchase consideration of this. Right? So indices, and we have learned the indices recently not tested. Now see, Colombo Stock Exchange is the only equity trading exchange in Sri Lanka, right? And remember, I have given you other countries exchange rates. Now we have Dow Jones, Nasdaq, we have Sensex, India, like that, right? We have Nikkei, Japan. Suppose the investor buys shares today, what kind of he can buy? What kind of shares from share market we can buy? Learn from this question. Either voting or either non-voting. That's true. Voting is puluwan, non-voting is puluwan. Which kind of shares? Preference shares? No. What kind of shares available on CSE? Only the ordinary shares. It can be either voting, it can be either non-voting. Suppose an investor buys shares today. The settlement of his investment happens on a later date. That's true. If you purchase shares today, you do not pay it today itself. You do not pay. Assume today is Monday. Monday. And there are no banking holidays during the week. When is the settlement date of transaction? How much? How many marks? Only 2 marks. But 2 marks can make big difference in your exam. The 46 is marks for you to get through this exam. Now you have, now this similar question can test you. Now without seeing this, I have done this morning also, right? Spot trade, same thing. Government securities, you have Wednesday auction, treasury bill. When is the settlement date? Friday, after 2 days. Share market, do the settlement 2 days. Questions are very much easy. Now there's another question. Now see this question. Which of the following method is not a suitable method to raise capital through the stock market? Bonus issue, right issue, initial public offering, private placement. What is not a component of capital asset pricing model? Remember that we have learned in this class. CAPM formula. They're asking what is not a component of capital asset pricing. 2 marks. Which of the following activity is not typically provided by the investment bankers? I have given you the note, the role of the investment banking. Remember? Now see this one. Mr. Rupa Singh is a fixed income security trader. Fixed income security trader means what? Government security. Who has invested primarily in government securities with fixed coupon rate. In the recent policy announcement we did it in the class, SDF and SLF in Sri Lanka. Central Bank of Sri Lanka has announced a policy rate hike by 50 basis points. Basis point, how do you convert basis point into percentage? Divided by 100. 50 basis point means divided by 100 means 0.5%. Policy rate has increased by 0.5%. Generally, we call it basis point. So the 0.5% increase. what is the impact to Mr. Rupasinghe's fixed income portfolio value? It's a lengthy question, but 2 marks. Didn't we learn here the price and the yield relationship? Same thing. We told you people who are holding government securities like interest rate to come down or go up. Come down. Why? They are making profit. So the price and the yield relationship is negative. Same applying here. So it's very easy for you to pass this exam. An examiner has tested you right issue question. Due diligence, we have learned. Right. So basically, question paper 2020, March and September combined, right? Combined paper they have given. Now, right now, see foreign exchange transaction we have been doing now. This understand for you to understand forward and discount, right? Forward means anything you add to the spot, meaning forward. Anything you deduct from the forward, anything you deduct from the spot, meaning discount, right? So how do you decide the forward and discount? Based on the true method, that is purchasing power parity and the interest rate parity. Remember that, right? So then we will be moving to hedging instrument. I have given you in your notes, these are the hedging instruments available. Now see, this one, this is the investment banking, role of the investment banking, right? This time there was a question on this. This is investment banking role, investment banking services, right? So everything is available for you, right? Only thing you'll have to study, that's all. There are some questions as well. Right. Now this one. Hedging. Hedging means what? So the generally hedging is you mitigate the exchange risk. Hedging instrument means instrument you are using to mitigate or to bring down or to reduce, but not to eliminate. You can't eliminate. You can't eliminate the foreign exchange risk. Huh? Can't. You can mitigate only, like insurance. Instrument you are using to bring down or mitigate the foreign exchange risk, meaning hedging instrument. There are two types of instrument, general internal and external. I have given you some Word documents not available here. There I have given the segregated thing. Right? If you have not received, please let me know. I think it's not available here. I think I have given you the Word document. Hedging instrument. Internal and external. Now, exposure netting is an internal one. Matching is internal. Leading and lagging is internal. Invoice in the home currency is internal. Money market also can be treated as internal. Forward exchange contract, currency futures, currency options, currency swaps are external. You are doing this hedging instrument, this hedging mechanism with another counterparty, another party, not internal. Internal hedging instruments are not much popular, but it is only a theory like. But it has to be there, it has been there. Those also can be implemented if you can, but very unlikely. In the present market, you can implement internal hedging mechanisms. So we are not much dealing with internal hedging. I'll giving you a small sentence on this. Exposure netting means what? Same thing like matching. You have exposure to pay, you have exposure to receive. Understand? Exposure to pay means you have imported something, you have to pay one day. And also you have exported something, you have to receive one day. What do you do? Exposure netting. The balance, matching. Balance only you, sorry. Balance only you pay or balance only you to receive. Very difficult to do this. Even to the same supplier. Now you have supplied goods to a guy in India. You imported whatever the goods, essential goods from India from the same supplier. Can you do the netting? It's very difficult. You have to do a separate two transactions. So that's why it's very difficult to implement the internal hedging mechanism. It's difficult. Invoice lagging and leading. Now say, thinking that exchange rate will move against you, you do the payment now. So now the interest rate depreciate if you are importer, you do it now, you make the payment now. Very rare, very unlike. So lagging means you delay, thinking that the interest rate will favor you in future. Invoice in the home currency. You import or you export something, but you invoice them in LKR. You export tea to we call Russia, and you do the invoicing in rupees. Can you do that? You can't. But if it is as a for a hedging mechanism, you can use it. You can't use it, but you can use it if possible, if the supplier likes it or the receiver likes it, right? So the money market hedging instrument is a mechanism that you think that there is some involving. The examiner, I don't think that in your examiner will test you, but for people who are doing financial operation market, can be a question on this, right? So the interesting question comes on money market hedging. So you'll have to borrow, then you'll have to pay interest. Very interesting question. But here we'll be not taking that question, right? Money market hedging. Forward exchange contracts, similar thing we did. Now, when you import a vehicle from Japan, you go to bank. Generally, you go to the bank and you have to open LC. So what does it mean? You enter into a forward exchange contract now to pay to the vehicle which is to be received after 1.5 months time or 2 months time, whatever. You enter into a contract now. Forward exchange contract. Now, presently, now these days, right? I don't know whether when you are facing the exam, this regulation is available. Now, presently, you can't make forward exchange contracts. You can't. So basically, is what? Now, say you import a vehicle. We say extension good term. You import big onions from India today. Today the exchange rate is, we say, 195. Example, right? Bank says you are the buyer, why you are the importer. So you need to buy from the bank. Bank sells, right? But you have been given the credit period by the exporter in India. A Begonian supplier has given you credit period. We say 1 month. We say 90 days. Example, right? Essential item, you can bring it without having credit. So we say 90 days. 90 days do not have given the maker. May loan given. Now 195. You are the importer. You go to the bank and open whatever we say LCA open it won't happen for the essential goods, but based on the open account, but we say take example only. Open a LC. LCA open karla, now you want to make it LCA open karna, but okay, we say forward exchange contract we are dealing with, okay, now 3 months time only you have to make the payment. Now you go to the bank today. Today you bank manager tells you 195. 3 months time you have to pay. So the following after 2 or 3 days, good also came to the bank. 3 months time you have to pay. Everything was perfect. He has sent you good. He has been dealing with you. There is a trust. But only thing you have been given special approval by the supplier, the exporter in India. Don't pay now. Pay me only after 3 months. That's fine. I can accept. Don't worry. I know you better than. So what do? You go to the bank today. You say, I have to make a payment of, we say, $1 million. To the Indian supplier. 3 months time only I had to make the payment. So the bank manager tells you, enter into forward exchange contract. Presently you can't do this. These days, right? We are in February. You can't do these things. But I don't know when you face the exam, it will be lifted sometime, but can't do. Now say everything was perfect. Now there is no ban like this. Example. You have 2 options. You have to make the payment after 3 months time. You can do nothing. නිකන් ඉන්න. pay කරන්නේ දැන්. 3 months එක ආවහම due වෙන දවසට බැංකුවට ගිහිල්ලා ඉවරලා you can buy dollars and you can make the payment to the export in India. Can do that. Right? After 3 months, you go to the bank and asking dollars by giving rupees, you make the payment. Before 3 months time, another 195. After 3 months time, now during the 3 months time, you didn't do anything. You go to the bank and ask මට dollars 1 million ගන්න ඕනේ. එක ඩොලරයක් කීයද කියලා. Now the bank manager tells you 198. Are you losing or you are gaining? You are losing. Why? කලින් මාස 3කට කලින් කරා නම් you would have done it 195 level. Now you are making, you have to pay 198 to get $1. I would have done it 3 months ago, $1, 195. So it doesn't mean you want to make the payment before 3 months at entire payment leading. No, that is not the case. You would have entered into a forward exchange contract before 3 months. The day you have decided to purchase this good from India, enter into a forward exchange contract for you to pay after 3 months time at this rate. So the once you entered into a forward exchange contract, when the day you decided to import and to make the payment after 3 months time, so that is we call forward exchange contract. Now say you have a very good accountant and he says, no, don't keep it open. This is the word, open. Don't keep it open. When you keep the foreign exchange amount open, you are exposed to a foreign exchange risk. So how do you mitigate? Instruments are there, hedging instruments. Now you have a smart accountant, he says, don't keep it open, we will cover it. We will come to an agreement with the bank to purchase dollars after 3 months time now. We will decide the rate now. You go to the bank and ask, today 195, and bank tells you, okay, after 3 months time, we will sell dollars to 197. Now you wait 3 months time. Now you go to the bank. We have a contract with you. I need to purchase dollars from you. Okay, that's fine. We have agreed to pay you 197. Okay, this is dollars. You will be paying at 197. You check the market. Market is at 180, 198. So the entering into a contract, forward exchange contract, protect you or mitigate or save you by exposing 1 rupee per dollar, 1 rupee foreign exchange. If it is 1 million, it's a 1 million rupees you save by entering into a forward exchange contract. You expose a mitigator. There is no, actually you have a gain. If you kept open and purchased from the market at that time, after 3 months time, you would have purchased dollars by giving $1, you have to purchase by giving 198. Since you have entered into a forward exchange contract, you can take dollars at 197. That is there. You are protected by entering into forward exchange contract. Same contract you entered into to pay 197. Done. නිකමට වගේ එනකොට you check the market. බැංකුවෙන් අහනවා දැන් මං ගත්තන මේ forward exchange contract එකට availability නැත්තම් මං ගන්නෙ කීයද නිකන් කීයද ඔයගොල්ලෝ sell කරන්නේ 195. Bank manager says so the price is 195. How much you pay now? 197. ඒතර හිතනවා අපරාධ මම මේක book කරේ කියලා. Forward exchange contract book කරේ නැත්නම් if I kept it open I would have purchased dollars at 195. Since I have entered into forward exchange contract, I have to buy dollars. I have to honor it. I am binded. I have to purchase dollars at 197. Are you losing or are you gaining? Did you cover your exposure? You covered your exposure, but you are losing. You're losing. But you can't predict 3 months ahead rate now. Can you? You can't. Sometimes it can be profitable to the bank. Sometimes it can be profitable to you. It depends. Here, like hedging instruments are like insurance. If you meet with an accident, they will pay you. Otherwise, it's a loss. But we can't keep it open. Every day we are burning. Depreciate. If it is imported, you have something called you can't bear up. Right? It's very difficult. So a lot of people come to an forward exchange contract to hedge, to cover the foreign exchange risk. Presently, it is prohibited. You have to keep it open. Right? You're exposing to a risk. Actually, why the central bank has put this forward exchange contract ban to stabilize exchange, to curtail the unnecessary imports. Curtail the unnecessary imports. But that is forward exchange contract. So the forward exchange contract, you have to anyway honor it. You can't say no. I can purchase dollars from the market at a lower rate. So then no, you can't do it. You have to honor it. You have to make it. You have to anyway honor it. So in Sri Lanka, the most popular foreign exchange hedging instrument is forward exchange contract. We have options also. We have futures we don't have in Sri Lanka, and we have swaps, currency swaps. We have the bank to bank. They are doing it, right? So that is forward exchange contract. Only thing you keep in mind the overall meaning of it. So forward exchange contract we get premium or discount. While you are actually deciding the rate, future rate only you decide. So when you add something, that is premium. When you deduct, the discount. So how do you decide the premium or discount? Based on the two things: purchasing parity and the interest rate. Right? Those are things you'll have to keep in mind. Other than that, you need. Then the swaps also the similar. I'll come to the later option. Swaps also the similar. Currency swaps are there. Interest rate swaps are there. It's available in a new tools, right? Currency swaps mean, now say you want to make a payment in dollars, but you have GBP. You have GBP. So then what does the bank do? Bank go to another bank and ask, I have GBP, you give me dollars, I'll give you GBP. So after 3 months time, we will reverse the transaction. For the time being, they take the requirement fulfilled. That is currency swap. You have different currency, other party has different currency, you exchange it. We call it currency swaps. Interest rate swaps means what? IRS. So you entered into a loan agreement that is fixed rate, but you need to convert this fixed rate into floating. You think that it's the interest rate then you need to convert this fixed rate into floating. I think make a the interest rate very weak. Then you need to fix it. So there are a huge market in the world. So your thinking may be different now. So if you want to sell something, your bank, if you go to the treasury division, ask from the dealers, anything you want to sell, there are people to buy. Why do you want to sell now? Thinking that the price will come down. You sell it. Make a damn sell something, anything. Make a price. So I'm losing. But somebody is there to buy. So what is his view? Yeah, make interest rate. Make a price. So then he will buy. So it's a huge market. So it is activated market. The huge volume of transactions are happening in foreign exchange market. So then foreign exchange market. So So basically, everybody, so anybody is there to purchase something. If you want to sell, anybody is there something to buy, something we want to sell. It's a huge market, right? So then activated market. So you have the different view, and the other guy has a different view, completely different. So that's why anything you want to sell, somebody is there to buy, right? So you need to convert fixed into floating. So that is in IRS, that is interest rate swap. Fixed floating karna, floating fixed. So that is also coming under. The only thing under swaps you have to keep in mind, there are two types: currency and interest rate. That's all. And futures also very much similar to pledge. Remember, in Sri Lanka we have pledge. You take the harvest and you agreed into some counterparty to sell at this price after you reap the harvest. So that is very much similar in pledge things in Sri Lanka, which is not available in Sri Lanka. Futures market, those are very, very developed market we have in foreign countries. So the futures markets are there, a lot of good sugar, beans, ගොඩක් ඒවට දිනවා මේ futures market එක they have actually created the market for these things, futures market, right? Not available in Sri Lanka, the tailor-made, right? So the standard quantities only this happen, not in Sri Lanka, but other markets there are exchanges, trading happen in futures, right? Hedging mechanism. So the option is also very much similar to the forward exchange contracts, but different ways, little costlier, right? There is a premium involving, there is striking price also involving. So I'll be taking a small question with you all to describe the strike price, because examiner has once tested the types of options. I thought of giving a strike price. What do you mean by strike price? And yeah, I'll be taking a small example with you all, so that everything will be finished. And also it's available in your notes, the types of options. And I have given you the differences between forward exchange contract and the futures market contract. So that is also important for you to understand, to keep in mind. Just keep in mind the differences for the forward exchange contract. These are tailor-made. Forward exchange contracts are not traded anywhere, but futures are traded in the trading flows like that, right? So basically, understand this. So I have to complete only the small part of this option question, so then we can finish it off everything, and we'll be starting next week the corporate restructuring. Before we come to corporate restructuring, I'll be taking up with the mergers and acquisitions, and that is also important question, important subject matter coming under your syllabus, right? Anything you have, any question do you have to before we wind up? Anything you have? So since you don't have any question, you bring the question to the class, right? Now we have completed a significant portion of your syllabus now. So take the new paper and try whether you can do something, right? So then we will be meeting next week. Then we can complete the foreign exchange transfer, small things to be completed, and we can start the mergers and acquisition part as well. So thank you very much for listening and being with us. Right? Thank you very much.